on over, Tyler. You don't have a choice. You can announce with me. John Burgott, coming up next.
That's fine, Derek. Somebody's got to come in with some information. John Burgott.
Well, I already gave it all to Scotty and used
Tricky Ricky. Derek, you did a great job with one car. We were worried that two might get you a little bit confused, so
your help.
I stepped in with you. So, like you said, you got John Burgott and Tricky Ricky Smith, and really the one that you watch on this side of the racetrack is Ricky.
He's been doing it for 49 years.
That's right. Been doing it longer than I've been alive, and we'll tell you anytime you ask it. For Parkway Ford and Pat Busey Racing Engines, Tricky Ricky back on the PDRA Tour, missed number 2 qualifying session, currently still sits in the number 7 spot. Went 372 in the opening stanza, but we'll see if he can lay something down into the 360 range. Opening stanza was round number 1 of qualifying, Derek, in case you missed that. Tell us about John Burgott.
I just didn't make it for the round 1 qualifying last night. I was trying that.
Yeah, we'll ask the cop that gave you all those tickets.
Hence the 2 speeding tickets I almost got. So John Burgott looking over there on the left side. That's the Dark Knight. Chevy Camaro. Chad backs away from the Parkway Ford radios into Ricky. It's taking on into the beams. Here we go.
So Derek, I think all eyes are on Ricky right here. Like, I think everybody's expecting Ricky to lay down a lap.
69 or 70?
Let's go 67. I'm going to say Ricky lays one down right here.
You're feeling good.
Both drivers go into tire shake right there. 9:49 down low for Ricky. He was getting after it early. Gave up the ghost right at the Christmas tree.
No improvement as we've seen out of Ricky Smith or John Burgott in final qualifying.
Next up, here on the right-hand side of the racetrack, Chris Reedy out of Hickory, North Carolina, the ATI Performance Product 69 Camaro for LR Sales, Buck Racing Engine, Maxima Oils. Chris had a great lap out here in Q2, won a 369.3. Cam Clark on the left-hand side out of Reidsville, North Carolina, Cumberland Farm and Auto. Mark Engelone 69 Camaro for Premier Concrete Solutions, D&T Motorsports, and Pat Busey Race Engines. While we watch Chris Reedy struggle in the opening round, made that shot in round number 2 of qualifying. Cam Clark has been down the racetrack both times with very consistent A to B passes.
So Cam Clark trying to go to the low 70s. The engine builder out of Reidsville. Clark's got the candles lit, closed into the finish line. There's a good run. Cam 373.4, 202 miles an hour, but look at Chris Reedy, 367.6. 203.92 the speed, and Reedy will climb to the number 3 spot. A good run for Team ATI. Very strong right on the heels of Tommy Franklin there for Chris Reedy.
Brian Schrader, 2017 Corvette here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Robert Hayes Race Cars. your number 6 qualified machine. You want a 369.2. Pat Musey horsepower underneath the hood scoop. 976 cubic inches of power.
So it wouldn't be surprising to see Brian Trader throw down a 367 at lap time right here. Robert Hayes, Pat Musey Camaro. Cam Clark laid down a good run. Really did the same. Got Brian Trader on a single. This is final qualifying. 16 drivers going to race day tomorrow. You're Brian Trader. Got to lay it all on the line here and see what the track will hold. Brian, a lot of wheel speed there, and it shoves him towards the wall, so he clicks it off early and coasts on and through at 599.
So next up, we have Mike Achenbach here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. The deep purple 2.069 Camaro, currently your number 5 qualified machine out of 369.1. And Ralph Edelin on the left-hand side out of Thomasville, Georgia, the Trash Man 69 Camaro. Ralph has looked impressive here in his PDRA debut this weekend at GALOT Motorsports Park. Your number 9 qualifier to 370.29.
They're going to talk about Ralph Edelin to the left that team has made. 76 and a 72. Down to be number 9 right now. Time we've seen Ralph on tour in 2024 with the Redline Oil PDRA Drag Racing Series. Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous. Edelin can go 3 here. He's got a good chance tomorrow going into race day. Whoever he can match up alongside is going to notice that. Let's bring their A game. So the pair of first-gen Chevys roll to the pre-stage beam together. On the left side, Achenbach right side. Find out where they end up in final qualifying. How about this? 373.9 to the 367.1 for Mike Achenbach. Pick it up 200ths overall, 205 miles an hour. And that will put Mike Achenbach up to the number 2 spot by 0.04 of a second. Bumps Tommy Franklin to number 3. And Ralph Edelin makes another A to B hit here in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous qualifying tonight.
Yeah, and that's saying quite a bit to come out here on your debut weekend. There's a lot of guys that have run with us all year that haven't been able to accomplish that here this
Correct.
weekend.
Or run three laps to make it to go to A to B. And he did it. So we'll see how round 1 shapes up tomorrow.
Buddy Perkinson and Freddie Scriba, our next pair out. Perkinson on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of North Prince George, Virginia. The Perkinson Construction 69 Camaro for LAT Racing Oil. Brown Line Construction. Buddy currently sits in the number 8 spot at a 372. And Freddie Scriba here on the right-hand side out of Millersville, Maryland. The Scriba Welding Camaro. Pat Musey horsepower across the board here. Scriba, your number 5 qualifier with the 368-1, and currently your number 3 man in points.
And Buddy Perkinson, they have the horsepower. They got the race car to run right towards the top of the leaderboard. And going to find out if he's going to have to let it just kind of turn itself loose. Turns fall where they may. Freddie Scriba is racing smart here at GALOT. He knows that a world championship's on the line. Each and every run counts in a big way. Buddy's car looked good early on, 369.8. Into the 60, 205 the speed. He picks up 2 miles per hour. So Freddie run on down at 365, 206.95. For Buddy Perkinson, they gave us some horsepower. Turn the wick up on it, and it makes it right to the finish line, A to B, 369.8, good run.
So our final pair in category. Jim Halsey here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Havana Grace, Maryland. The Cecil County Dragway 68 Camaro for Schweitzer Dynamics, Yellow Bullet Nationals, and Purnell Body Shop. Big Fulton horsepower underneath the hood scoop has landed him in the number 1 qualified position with a 364.5. He'll be next to Tommy Franklin on the left-hand side. The Jungle Rat 69 Camaro for Franklin Electric, SmartCom, Redline, Hoosier. Jeff Pierce doing the tuning over there for Tommy Franklin, but everyone chasing this black and orange machine on the right-hand side of the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely a very impressive run in qualifying we've seen out of Jim Halsey. And you think back to last night as well in testing. So
yeah.
Jim's car has just been flawless. Really, GALOT Motorsports Park this weekend.
Last night he went a 361, I believe it was, and it was under similar conditions as to it is right now. So keep your eyes on the scoreboards. Get interesting here in just a minute.
I think you're going to see Tommy play post the 366 number.
So we're hedging our bets up here. Derek says 366. I think he's going to go with 64, but we'll see here in just a moment as they start to light the top bulbs.
Jim Halsey set out that second session. They repaired the race car. Braden Schweitzer watch it on down there on the starting line, right side. And man, what a wild ride there for Jim Halsey. That car went over on its roof and is sliding to a stop down there at the top end of the racetrack. So our safety team are rolling. Tommy Franklin was able to stay out in front and be away from Jim Halsey's race car, so they did not make contact. And our PDRA safety crew is on scene down there. We will give you an update as we get one. So obviously in these situations, the request that we always make is to stay back and let our safety team do their job. And we just got the word that Jim Halsey is out of the race car and talking to safety personnel. So Jim Halsey is out of the race car, is safe, and talking to personnel down there at the top of the racetrack. So we'd ask that you just stay back, Let them do their cleanup, do what is needed down there, but stay off the racetrack. If you are not a PDRA staff member or a team with Jim Halsey, we do not need you on the racetrack. We're down for a little bit, some cleanup, and you look at FloRacing. Jim Halsey is out of the car, giving hugs to his crew members down there, and he is okay. So Jim Halsey's car unfortunately came to a top down there in the shutdown area, but Jim is out at fortunately the damage that has been done. It's one of those situations. The car made a move and it got away from Jim, who's a true veteran driver here in the sport behind the wheel of these pro modified machines, and sometimes it just gets away from you too quickly to be able to do anything about it. In Jim's case, that's exactly what happened. The safety equipment did his job. Jim was safe, was able to exit the car under his own power, and we will go to work here at the top of the racetrack to get the car turned back over, get the racing surface back into shape, and continue final qualifying here tonight.
Courtney Anders here on the starting line here at GALOT Motorsports Park at the Red Line PDRA event. As you just saw in FloRacing, there was a horrific accident involving Jim Halsey. So we're going to run down a few things here as of yet. First things first, and the most important thing, he is out of the car. He is okay. As you can see from the drone shots that we have down there, hugs were being spread all around. So Jim Halsey is okay, but the car is not. Again, on the drone shots, you could see it was upside down. Everybody from the PDRA, competitors, Tyler, put their literal hands on this car to help Jim in a moment of need there, and that's what the PDRA is all about. But we don't have a ton of information, but wanted to give you at least an update on that. Been an exciting day for Jim Halsey. Q1 had some issues. Skipped Q2. We talked to him about that. We'll replay the interview here in a few minutes so you can get that information. We don't know if anything has to do with the other. Could be a coincidence, but as you can see from that accident there, something happened very abruptly, shoved him into the wall, avoided Tommy Franklin, thankfully. But again, Jim Halsey is okay. That run will be DQ'd because he crossed the center line, but something important to think about now that we know that safety's okay, because you know that Jim Halsey is thinking this. He is 50 points ahead of Tommy Franklin in the lead for the points for Pro Nitrous. He has another car, not sure what they're gonna do. Again, the only thing that I got directly from the Jim Halsey camp, that he is okay and they are taking the car back to the pit. So keep tuned to FloRacing. We have got the rest of Q3 coming up here shortly and hopefully be able to give you some good news about Jim Halsey and their trek for the championship.
I just got the call from the top end, roughly about 10 more minutes of cleanup, and then we should be back underway here with our final round of qualifying for the pro categories. So less than 10 minutes, I've now been told. So you're sitting back here getting ready to go. Start making your final preparations. Pro boost drivers, start getting back in your hot rods. We'll be up and running here shortly.
In the pits here at GALOT Motorsports Park for the Red Line PDRA race, and we've got Jim Halsey. You've had kind of an exciting day. I know you always love talking to me, so now it's story time for you. Q1, you go out there and just absolutely lay it down, but had some troubles.
Yeah, something happened. It broke some rear end studs, kicked a bunch of oil out of it. We had a lot of work to do, and we decided to sit out Q2. We thought the sun was actually going to be out a little bit stronger, but it wasn't. Maybe we should have ran it, but here we are.
I was a little bit shocked to see that. I'm coming in. I go to log in, and Tommy Franklin's running a solo there. What goes into that? You just said we could have made it, but didn't do it. The sun, obviously, a factor there. But anything with your team here and just making sure things are organized?
Well, when we started working on it to put everything back together, we decided that we were not going to do it because it was sunny at the time. And we thought with 3 hours of sun on the racetrack, that there's no sense in us trying to go again because we probably couldn't improve. And then the clouds come out, and we were a little behind schedule. So it is what it is.
Now we're going out there. Sun is not out anymore. We're going into Q3. They just called you up to the lanes. What can we expect out of you?
I'm hoping another 61, 62 like we did last night in testing. The weather's similar. It's probably a little worse today, but we'll see.
And while I have you here, leading the points, there's 2 races left. Things are getting really intense. Talk to me about the competition.
It's tough. I mean, me and Tommy's fought it out for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, expect nothing different this year than the last. So we're trying to pick at it as best we can.
I know he's coming after you hard, but Jim Halsey here, points leader, #1 qualifier at GALOT. We'll see what happens. We've got Todd Teterow here, King Ted, on the starting line, about to get in your race car for Q3. It's been a pretty consistent day for you. 63, 62, what can we expect out of you?
I hope it goes 60. I mean, like, it'd be nice to go #1 or maybe in the 50s, but just one at a time, I guess. We'll just see how it works out.
Obviously, the elephant in the room here just had an incident on track. Being able to touch up the track here. Talk to us about the facility here and the confidence that you have in this racetrack.
Well, I helped with this racetrack, and it's very good. It's smooth. The holes rubber good. The boys do a good job treating it and everything. It's on kill right now, so we're fixing to see something.
And speaking of on kill, can't not talk about it. It's the second to last race of the season. A lot of the championship stories are starting to begin to write themselves. What's the vibe over in y'all's pit?
I hope Kirk stays up front, so we're pulling for him, and we're doing all we can do.
All right, well, good luck and be safe out there.
All right, thank you.
We've got Scott Lang here, literally suited up. Next up, gracious enough to give us an interview here, sitting outside the field. I just asked you, are you ready to bump this thing in? What you got?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to try to get into the top half of the field if everything goes well. Hope it don't shake. Just going to keep our fingers crossed, get it A to B.
That's the mentality here I think everybody's got, is getting down this racetrack, get you in the show. But Pro Boost always shows out, and you guys have a ton of cars here. What's that say for the class?
The class is healthy, and more new guys keep coming, and that's good for this class and the PDRA both.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking time. Good luck and be safe.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Camaro from Motorsports, VP and PTP. Currently, Winsley not in the program, number 18. Right now, Don Colley's holding down the number 16 qualifying position at a 370 with a 7. And Jason Harris is your number 1 qualifier, 360 with an 8.
Here we are at WS Construction Pro Boost. Final qualifying. The guy that's outside looking in. And for the Liberty Gears. And Joel Winsley's car goes out past half track and starts to sashay around a bit. Clicks it off at 4:10, 138. Need to go quicker than 370 with a 7. Don Tolley is your number 16 qualifier on the bump.
So 2 more firing up that are not currently qualified in the field. Josh Chester and Scott Lang. Chester on the left side of the racetrack out of Morganton, North Carolina, the 63 split window for Mountain View Motor. And Scott Lang here on the right-hand side out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Equalizer Camaro. For AML Motorsports, Proline, KA13, Fuel Tech, Pro Charger, Carmack Engineering, and M&M Transmissions.
The final opportunity that Josh Chester and Scott Lang will have to try and be here on race day tomorrow. Big place right in front of you. So Lang will bring the 2018 bodied Chevrolet Camaro to the starting line here on the right side for AML Motorsports and Pro Line Racing. Chester has got one previous shot of the racetrack. We didn't see him in Q1. He showed up in Q2. And now here in Q3, he is going to try to run quicker than 370. Chester pedaled the car to get it to the other end. There in Q2 from Mountain View Motor Company. Let's see what the 39-year-old mechanic can do right here, left side. They're in, lights are down. Good side-by-side drag race, 374.8, 204 miles an hour for Chester, 366. There's the number Scott Lang was looking for into the number 13 spot. So Josh Chester, unfortunately, did not make the 16-car field, but 2 good runs, I would say, you know, looking when he posted in Q2 to be pedaling the car and then goes out here and goes A to B at 374, 204, not bad. But just not enough to be on race day tomorrow. But that will bump out the guy on the right side.
Yeah, Don Tolley now has to make a run quicker than Robert Davis's 367.7. Tolley here on the right-hand side out of Bedford, Virginia, the 2019 Camaro for Maxima Oil. And Chuck Alsh on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Mount Airy, Maryland. The Alsh Racing 68 Camaro for HFR Fabrication, Churchview Farms, and Red Line Oil. Chuck Alsh currently sits number 14. He won a 367.0 that led him there. Right now, Don Tolley, he's been a 370 with the 7. Needs to go quicker than a 367.7 on this pass.
So Don Tolley's got to find over 300ths of a second to have a shot. 16-car field. The Maxima Racing Oil Camaro. You see there, the right-hand side of the racetrack. Tolley's getting after it. Top end, 378.5 to 198 miles an hour. 366.207 the speed for Chuck Ulsh. And Don Tolley is not able to bump his way back into the field of Pro Boost. So with that run that Chuck Ulsh just laid down, 366.1, 207.08 was his best out of 3 efforts here tonight. It's going to be up to the number 11 spot.
And Derek, with that, I believe the field is now set. They'll just jockey for position on where they start race day. And our next 2 come up. Bubba Green, left side of the racetrack out of Greer, South Carolina, the 2016 Corvette, tuned by Scotty Cannon. He's your number 13 qualifier, 366.3. And Robert Davis here in his debut in PDRA Pro Boost. He'll make the race. He's your number 16 qualifier. He won a 367.7 that landed him there. Mincer Motorsports Pro Street. Pro Street, we need you for your final round of qualifying, please. Mincer Motorsports Pro Street, we need you.
Yeah, Bubba Green, you heard a big pop and a bang down there out of his Chevrolet Corvette, and a lot of white smoke will trail over there on the left-hand side. Bubba slows 377, 172. 366 there for Robert Davis. 207 the speed, and that's going to be Davis's best run of the day here in qualifying. And Bubba, the car was looking good early on. Had solid numbers up front. Half track. Good, and then right side header bank, a lot of white smoke started to pour out of that race car right around 500 feet. So our trackside spotters jumps the wall. They'll go out and take a look at the racing surface to see if we are dry down there. We'll go back at it here momentarily. This is final qualifying here tonight. WS Construction Pro Boost. So getting word from our PDRA crew out there. It's taking a look at the racing surface that a little bit of metal shavings, minor debris that they're going to bring the tractor out and do some grooming and get this thing back into shape. We watched the instant replay from FloRacing, and you can see the burst panel. Popped in Bubba Green's Corvette. And a little bit more carnage than just a simple burst panel popping there. So they're going to have their work cut out for them tonight. Right there, if you're watching at home, bam. Takes place and starts spewing out some smoke, and then had a very minor fire down there at the top end. So they got that out rather quickly. It's off to our safety team.
All right, Derek. Here we go again.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh. Melanie Salemi not sounding so good there in the burnout. And we'll go into race day, it appears, as your number 16 qualifier. Tommy Gray, left-hand side of the racetrack out of Baltimore, Maryland, the Undertaker Corvette. He's your number 13 qualified machine out of 366.3.
So an unfortunate mechanical failure there. Melanie Salemi not going to make the call here in Q3, so now it's going to be Tommy Gray. The Undertaker did not Q2. Tommy Gray's car failed to fire back in the burnout box, so they sat out Q2. Come here Q3 with a 366 elapsed time for the first session today. And Tommy Gray lays down a good lap, 365, 6205, 69 the numbers. And that is going to be his best run by thousandths of a second. Going to put Tommy Gray number 8 right now.
The Iron Man here on the right-hand side of the racetrack, Ed Burnley. Out of Pasadena, Maryland, 366 on his first attempt. 365.8 has landed him in the number 9 qualified spot. And Derek Ward on the left-hand side out of Friendship, Maryland, 68 Firebird for Resolution Racing Services, G-Force Race Cars, and MSR Performance. Derek's your number 11 qualifier currently at a 366.1, and that car has been like a bracket car, 366.7, 366.1. He'll try to march his way up the ladder right here.
Spray a little de-icer on the butterflies, and there is the Pontiac Firebird of Derek Ward. Good look inside of Ed Burnley's Iron Man Camaro. So if Derek Ward picks up 200ths of a second, well, very well put him all the way up to the number 4 spot. Good runs out of both. Watch the scoreboard, 363.8, 207 the speed. And Ed Burnley into the wall at the top of the racetrack. So we're going to be on hold. He is coming to a stop, and the safety crew will roll. So everybody clear the starting line, and our safety crew is rolling at the top end. We're going to give you a word on that here in just a moment. that a down track incident took place. We're going to give you an update as soon as we hear from the safety crew. All right, so the official word from the top end that Ed Burnley is out of the car. Talking with the safety crew, and he got out under his own power. So Ed Burnley exited the race car. So taking a look back there on the instant replay of FloRacing, the chute, the parachutes on Ed Burnley's car looked like it kind of got wadded up or caught in some way, and it grabbed a little bit of brake pedal, and that car made a move into the right side wall. An unfortunate event there. You'll see the parachutes deploy, and they are just tangled up. So some cleanup will take place down there at the top end of the racetrack. But once again, Ed Burnley is A-OK. Race car obviously a little beat up. But he got out of the race car under his own power. He's talking with everybody down there in the shutdown area. And our PDRA staff will go into cleanup mode, unfortunately, once again here at GALOT Motorsports Park tonight in final qualifying. I know Ed obviously is upset. A team that has worked so hard, and that new combination with the Pro Charger was proving pretty well for them.
Fabrication, the winningest header builder on the PDRA. Many champions in the past.
with Party Time. Jason Harris here on the starting line. A couple of times you've gotten back in the car to get ready for this Q3. Before we start talking about your performance and your championship chasing, Erie tonight. There's been a couple of crashes. We all know the risks of this, but you and I spoke about this before we asked this, the mental headspace of watching this stuff and then getting back in the car of doing what you love with what's going on tonight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely watching two friends get in accidents kind of scary. Jimmy's was pretty scary. I know it was a part malfunction, and we're waiting for this thing to go by. But yeah, you know, seeing this, I mean, it happens. You've been doing it as long as I have. You've seen it. I mean, I've seen some bad stuff, but, you know, it's just kind of part of it. It's our job. We get back in there. We know the risks we take. But right now, you know, they're both okay. That's what matters, and cars can be replaced.
Now you're sitting on the top of the field here. Pro Boost has been the most competitive category in the PDRA all year. Argue me. You're sitting on the top. You're chasing somebody in points here. Your mental headspace, I know this is where you thrive.
Yeah, you know, I try not to look at points, but, you know, I kind of...
I'm going to make you talk about it.
That's fine. I kind of sucked earlier in the year, and we made some ground up at Bristol and some different places. Right now we're sitting number one qualifier, so that the little points are what's going to count and come down to. I think it'll come down to the last race, no matter what happens at this race. But, you know, I think I'm 2 rounds out. Kurt's a hell of a driver, and there's some guys behind me that can make big moves. I mean, I think this race will kind of dictate going into Virginia what's going to happen.
You have had a roller coaster of a year, right? Beginning of the season, we're down there. We're not getting party time at the top end, but we're getting it now. What's it been like behind the ropes with you and your team getting back to where you are now?
Just got to get back to basics. Got to go back to what you know. You got to get the car worked out. The driver sucked at one race, had a bunch of parts failures at one race. You just got to get back to the basics, making sure everything's right and on top of your game.
Well, it looks like you're about to start this Christmas tree, but good luck. Be safe.
Thanks a lot.
The fire suppression system or the window net.
Duplicated. Davis Technologies. When only the best will do. MagnaFuel Products, the leader in racing fuel systems, provides the highest quality CNC machined fuel pumps and pressure regulators on the market today. All MagnaFuel products are proudly built in
Shout out to the PDRA team and the GALOT Motorsports team for getting the racetrack cleaned up here yet again, and we're back underway. Preston Tanner, left side of the racetrack out of Rensselaer, Indiana. The Sweetheart Corvette for Talbot Manufacturing, A.J. Winton Son, and Strange Engineering. Manhattan Collision Center also on board that machine. It'll be number 11 qualifier, 365.9. And he's had a very consistent machine here this afternoon. 365.9 his best time, 366.4 in his other qualifying attempt. And here on the right-hand side, Travis Harvey out of Burlington, North Carolina, the Carolina Kid. Vaughn Mills, Eric Holland owned 2019 Camaro. Mills Truck Service, Proline, Fuel Tech, and Holland Enterprises. Travis, your number 8 qualifier to 365.3.
Travis Harvey is no stranger to double duty at a PDRA national event. Seen him time in Pro Boost and Pro Night. This weekend he's running in Pro Boost and Top Rank. Just came off an NHRA Pro Modified ship. And now he is number 8 qualified field with the Burlington, North Carolina. Miles Trucking Service, Proline Racing.
Since 2009.
Arrow here on the right side.
16-volt lithium battery is only 8 amps and puts out over
Got wheels.
300 cranking amps.
Sorry,
It's
Carolina
the
kid
easiest
Travis
way
Harvey.
to drop weight
Put it in the
and
winter
gain
circle.
shape to
Subway
reliable
Chamber Form.
and
Preston Tanner,
long-lasting.
no slouch. He's the first one to stage. He is set to go. Problems for Travis Harvey right at the starting line, and Preston 363.9, 206 miles per hour.
Mazir Enterprises
That's gonna be
offers
Tanner's
the
best
very
run
best in
by
cooling and starting system technology for the most demanding applications. For your next
Travis
starter,
Harvey.
water pump, or flex plate,
The blower
look to
belt there.
Mazir.
Car
On the
is
web at Mazir.com.
Coming to a stop out there on the racing surface.
Delivering speed, power, and performance for over 40 years. AFCO Performance Group is proud to be partnered with the PDRA as co-sponsors of both the Pro Street and Super Street classes, again in 2023. In drag racing, you only get one chance to get it right. When winning and losing is everything to your race team, think AFCO. Pack Racing Springs is the aftermarket and racing group of Peterson Spring, founded over 100 years ago. Pack Racing Springs, located in Southfield, Michigan, is an industry leader for valve train components, with one of the largest
Randy Weatherford and Kurt Stedding. Weatherford on the left-hand side of the Danville, Virginia, the WS Construction 2020 Camaro. Randy's your number 4 qualifier here so far at a 363.1. And Kurt Stedding here on the right-hand side out of Carnegie, Pennsylvania, your current points leader in the category. P2 Contracting 69 Camaro for YO Motorsports, Time Drive, and NGK Spark Plugs.
So two drivers and teams that by far have the potential to take over the number 1 qualifying spot. And at the other end of the racetrack, 362.6. Look at the number there for Randy, 206 the speed, 364. Kurt Stedding. 206.56 miles an hour. And Randy Weatherford will go into the number 3 spot with that run. 362.6. The WS Construction Camaro.
Steve King next out here on the right-hand side out of Strasburg, Virginia, the Savage 2022 Corvette, owned by Gene Pilot. Jeff Miller Performance, Resolution Racing Services, G-Force Race Cars, MSR Performance, and Pilot Electric on board your number 7 qualified machine. He won a 363.9. And Todd Tutterow on the left-hand side, King Tut out of Yadkinville, North Carolina, the 69 Camaro, owned by Justin Smith. Quick Fuel, Tie Drive, YO Motorsports, Extreme Oil, and NGK Spark Plugs. He's your number 4 qualifier so far at a 362.8.
Steve King, Todd Tutterow building a little heat in the motors. We've got King's Corvette, car the Savage, Strasburg, Virginia. Together with the number 7 spot in qualifying, Todd Tutterow. They make the upset happen and take a swing at Jason Harris to go quicker than 360 with an 8. Lead the new number 1 qualifier. Clean Quick Fuel over there on the left side. Shot there of Steve King's ride. And at the finish line, it's going to be Tutterow going 362.2, 208 the speed. 363 picks up by 9 thou for Steve King down the right side. 204.63 on speed. Todd number 3, Steve King number 5 here in Pro Boost qualifying.
Jason Harris and Johnny Camp. Our final 2 cars in category. Harris on the left-hand side out of Pittsboro, North Carolina. The Party Time Camaro is your number 1 qualifier here with a 360 with an 8. Johnny Camp, number 2, here on the right-hand side. Johnny out of Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania. The Hells Bells Camaro. He's number 2 with a 361.5. Brandon Stroud, the hand and tuning both of these machines. They have made up the final round of PDRA competition in the last 3 races.
Two of the baddest hot rods here in Pro Boost. In the category out, Jason Harris and Johnny Camp square it off here. It's Party Time and Hells Bells. Where are they going to start? Race day tomorrow. Jason, 359.8. That's low. 207 miles an hour. 361.4 for Johnny. 206.61. He starts racing number 2 spot. Jason Harris, low ET. Doesn't have top speed though. That belongs to Todd Tutor.
So now we're going to make the move over to Mincer Motorsports Pro Street, presented by AFCO Racing. First car to come out for qualifying, Callie Mills out of Sand Springs, Oklahoma. The Golden Gorilla 68 Camaro for Mills Truck and Tractor, Don Baskin Truck Sales, American Pride Golf Cart, and Goodridge. 416, the number Mills went earlier this afternoon. It was only good enough for the 13th qualified position.
All right, so our first car in Mincer Motorsports Pro Street, presented by AFCO Racing. American Pride, Callie Mills, and Dwayne and their whole team. 13 right now at 416. Car down there about 500 feet, and it took her foot off the gas pedal as it was drifting towards the center line stripe. 432. No improvement for Callie in the number 13 spot.
We have a racer in need. The Kirbys are in need of a fresh water pump for their RV. They're parked down by the dirt park. So if you happen to have a spare, they would be much appreciative of that. Warren Vandish, left side of the racetrack out of Fulton, New York. The Angry Dolphin 71 Nova for Lindsay Incorporated. Lindsay Aggregates Incorporated, PTP on board. Jerry Morgano here on the right-hand side of Apollo Beach, Florida. The Copperhead 02 Mustang. Ameriprise Financial, DeSoma Race Engines, and Bullseye Turbo, as well as Mincer Motorsports on board the Copperhead here on the right-hand side of the racetrack.
Twin Turbo Nova, Warren Vandish, and Jerry Morgano. Morgano to the top end at 4.009. There's Morgano's best run at 204 miles an hour, the Copperhead Mustang. Vandish 601 at 86. So Morgano will climb to the number 4 spot. That was a huge run. Hats off to Jerry and that entire team. They worked hard for it and very solidly qualified here in Pro Street.
right, quick check on the racing surface. We are good to go, and that'll bring out Mauro Carengi and Joel Winsley Jr. Winsley Jr. over here on the right-hand side out of Dearborn, Michigan. 2014 Camaro for mechanical heating and cooling. Pro Charger and Liberty's gears, your number 11 qualified machine at a 4049. Mauro Carengi on the left-hand side out of Grimsby, Ontario, Canada. The Mustang Rent-A-Ride. Of course, Mauro having some bad luck when we stopped at US 131 to his primary mount. Comes in number 14 at a 481.
Reggie and Winsley. There they are to the starting line. Just seen Logano lay down a forward flat. So Joel Winsley picks up just hundredths of a second, and that's going to be huge. This is a extremely tight field. That's your Motorsports Pro Street. 0.05 of a second separate the 9 drivers. This one's going to be all Joel Winsley Jr. to the top end, 4.016. Good run, 194. Picking up 300ths there for the Pro Charge Liberty Gears entry. Joel Winsley Jr., 4.016, 194, and he is now number 5 for the time being.
Brian Weddle, Blake Denton, our next pair. Weddle on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Frederick, Maryland. 187 graphics Camaro, 1320 fab. Extreme Racing Engines, your number 12 qualifier to 4056. And Blake Denton behind the wheel of Bonnie here on the right-hand side of the racetrack in honor of Lizzie Musey, keeping her memory alive. 69 Camaro, the Tommy Franklin camp for Redline Oil.
Well, we shut him down here as we got very, very light rain on the top end of the racetrack. As crazy as that sounds, right? Like just when you thought like it can't get any more wild tonight. Got a really light mist down there.
All right, we've gotten the all clear down at the top end. So we're going to fire the motors back up. Head to the starting line. So Brian Weddle, Blake Denton bring their machines back to life here on the starting line. Derek, as we were saying, that is not a tribute car. That is actually Lizzie Musey's old hot rod sitting over here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. An agreement was made with Pat Musey and Tommy Franklin Motorsports to keep Lizzie's memory alive and to honor her.
Problem for Blake, and that car is just motoring on down to the top end. Brian's going to go for. Picks up 0.04 of a second at 191. So the 187 Graphics Chevrolet is going to be now number 5. 6 thou bumps Joel Winsley Jr. down to number 6.
Ron Green, Chris Tutor, the next two to take to the surface. Green on the left-hand side out of Chesterfield, Virginia. The Game Changer Firebird is your number 12 qualifier at a 4.041. Chris Tutor, number 9 here on the right-hand side. Chris Tutor went a 4.032 in his muffler shop Mustang. Currently, Scott Kincaid leading the charge. Your number 1 qualifier to 398.6. Bill Riddle, number 2, 399.9. Tim Essic, 4 flat with a 2. Jerry Morgano, 4 flat with a 9. Brian Weddle, 4.010. Joe Winsley Jr., 4.016. Ethan Stedding, 4.025. Dan Norris, number 8 at a 4.027.
So Ron Green to the Pontiac. And 2 great hot rods that had struggled here in this final qualifying session, 5.18 and 5.06 respectively. Number 12. Disappointment on some crew member space down there as they were hoping for some big numbers.
Richard Reagan, Ethan Stedding, the next pair. Reagan on the left-hand side out of Rutledge, Tennessee. The 1990 Ford Mustang's your number 11 qualified machine at a 4.036. And Ethan Stedding, 3-time winner on tour here in the category and your current points leader on the right-hand side. Carnegie, Pennsylvania-based P2 Racing 2024 Camaro's your number 7 qualifier to 4.025.
I have a feeling that Ethan Stedding is going to take a big swing at Scott Kincaid. Watch the big entry right hand. Both cars looking good. Finish. 402 there for Richard Reagan and Speed. Number 2, Scott on 1 mile-an-hour charge out of Ethan Setting, but when I told you the kid was going to take a swing for it, exactly what he did.
Oh, but just wait, Derek. I believe we still have Kincaid left to go. Yeah, we still got quite a few machines here. Dan Norris, Tim Essic, a pair of Ford Mustangs. Essic on the right-hand side out of Port Tobacco, Maryland, the brown sugar machine for Pro Charger and Essic Motorsports, your number 4 qualifier to 4 flat with a 2. And Dan Norris, left-hand side, finds himself all the way back in the number 9 qualified position with a 4.027. Norris out of Brighton, Michigan. For Mincer Motorsports, Noonan, Fuel Tech, M&M, PSI, and SSI. Number 2 in the point standings.
Get a look at there, the brown sugar Ford of Tim Essic. Here on the right side. I have a feeling these scoreboards light up. Number 1 qualifier. 2 absolutely gorgeous hot rods squaring off. See what Dan Norris is going to bring to the table. Here in Q3. Manager from Brighton, Michigan. And unfortunately for Dan Norris, he had issues. And Tim Essex's car has some kind of mechanical function, and he shuts it off. Break the beam. They're going to push him back on the starting line.
Well, time for our final pair in the category, Bill Riddle and Scott Kincaid. Kincaid sits number 1 here on the right-hand side out of Thornhill, Tennessee. The Clinch Mountain Transport 69 Camaro went a 398.6 to earn that spot. And Bill Riddle, past world champion, defending world champion, left side of the racetrack out of Howell, Michigan. The Corrigan Race Fuels 89 Camaro is now down at the number 3 spot. 399.9 is what Bill Riddle went. And Derek, we looked on social media and Riddle made a post, had the supercharger off that machine, doing a lot of work underneath the hood in the engine compartment, trying to get his motor back together.
I talked about last pair, we were going to see the number 1 qualifier. I was wrong. And with Bill Riddle here, Scott Kincaid, I'd like to say that Riddle is You got to play down a lap.
Well, Riddle's coming off #1 qualifier at Bristol at our last event.
Problems there for Bill Riddle, and 396, 194. Scott Kincaid, low for the weekend. Here in the category of Minster Motorsports Pro Street, 396.9, 194. #1 qualifier.
Ethan Stedding, #2. Bill Riddle, #3. Tim Essic, #4. Jerry Morgano round out your top 5.
Out of the pit area, please. Attention to the pits. We need Pro 632 and Super Street. Pro 632 and Super Street, we need you to the lanes. And here comes Extreme Pro Stock.
Yeah, Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock presented by AED Competition. Our first pair, Kurt Neighbor. The Blue Line Auto Detailing Ford Mustang on the left side of the racetrack. And Jordan Insulin here on the right-hand side for Dark Horse Coffee.
Kurt Neighbor trying to climb to the top spot here in qualifying. He's been 423. See if he can get that 2012 Ford Mustang. Go A to B. Good run, Jordan Insulin, 414. Issues. He has to pedal it. 461, no improvement, 165. Jordan's going to go 416, 173 over there on the right side. The Dark Horse Coffee Company.
Gianni Bocino and Dwayne Rice. And now I know there is nothing on the radar, but it is starting to rain out there at the top end and at the 330. So we'll go on pause for just another moment.